Greetings, my fellow YouTubers. This is a shot of whiskey, and as you can see, I am using OBS. Why? Because my current video making program is not wanting to work. Thank you so much, Sony. So I thought I would do something else. Now, the original plan that I was wanting to do obviously isn't going to work for this, so I'm going to instead be responding to a Twitter feed that was brought out by someone named Joanna Schroeder. Dun dun dun.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I like his name.
It's a her.
Oh, I like her name.
Yeah, my son is here right now. He's playing some games on my phone right now. So now, as you can see here, she's got a check mark, and that's because she's a professional feminist. She has written novels and has contributed articles to places like Time.com and Ask Men, which only further proves that Ask Men is not about men, nor are you asking men things. So, let's go ahead and analyze what sort of crap she had to put out a few days ago. Oh, which, by the way, I've seen other people post this as well. But, so yeah, it definitely got around. Do you have white teenage sons? Listen up. Well, I have a son who's white. He's not a teenager yet. He's about halfway there. Whoa. Living on a prayer. Okay, that's enough of that. I've been watching my boys' online behavior and noticed that social media and vloggers are actively laying groundwork in white teens to turn them into alt-right/white supremacists. Here's how. Now, before I do that, I did notice here the word boys, the way that it's written. Assuming that she's actually doing things grammatically correct, she's indicating that she has more than one son. I feel sorry for all of them. But here's the thing. I may be white, my son may be white, but I don't agree with white supremacists. Screw them all. I hope they all die. Or convert, I guess. But the thing is you're going to see she clearly has no idea what the hell she's talking about. It's a system, I believe, in other words, I have no facts to back up what I'm saying, is purposefully created to disillusion white boys away from progressive liberal perspectives. Oh, okay, in a way, that's a good thing, because nobody who is white, and especially nobody who is a white male, should go progressive, because progressivism is against whites and males. Sorry, lady, but that's a fact. And if these guys are at all intelligent, they'll do exactly that. Bye-bye progressivism. First, the boys are inundated by memes featuring subtly racist, sexist, homophobic, anti-Semitic jokes. Yeah, sometimes, so what? Being kids, they don't see the nuance, and repeat, share. That's the point of the meme. That's what makes it a meme, is it being shared. But that's not exactly the negative point about this. So, the thing is, what she's complaining about, you will see not just white boys do, but you'll also see black boys, Hispanic boys, maybe Asian boys, I would imagine. And change the gender. You'll see girls do that kind of stuff too. Why the hell not? Let's make fun of the boys. Tee-hee-hee. Then they're called out for these jokes, phrases, memes by parents, teachers, kids, mostly girls, because that somehow is important, at school and online. Alright, so when it comes to online stuff, unless they're using school property, teachers and kids at school don't matter. They don't. At least they shouldn't. Now, I can understand if they were the targets, that would be an exception. But usually when people are posting these kinds of things, they're not targeting anyone. They're just saying something, or they're sharing something that they think is funny. Parents, yes, I can understand in that kind of a case. Parents should care about what their children, which teenagers fall into that category technically, what they're doing online. The boys then feel shame and embarrassment. I'd like to know where you're getting your citation for that. Maybe a little bit of embarrassment. But I think if they truly feel these ways, they probably feel more along the lines of, I still see nothing wrong with what I'm doing. And shame is the force that I believe, because I don't have facts on my side, leads people to their worst decisions. Oh, you know, actually, that line right there, shame is the force that leads people to their worst decisions. That might explain why a lot of these white teenage boys are being forced to go into progressivism. And yes, I do say it's forced because of something she's going to say here in a little bit. Although I don't think it's on this page. The second step is the boys consuming media with the people are too sensitive and you can't... Yes, go Seahawks. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about. And you can't say anything anymore themes. Well, the thing is, lady, is people are too sensitive. Hence the reason why you're complaining because your sons are looking at something that's not progressive. That kind of stuff is going on all over the place. I mean, there are people who are so sensitive and will be like, you can't say it anymore about the difference between saying Asian and Oriental. Apparently, Oriental is taboo here in the States. Doesn't matter what the context is. You could be talking about a certain flavor of top ramen, and that somehow is bad. For these boys, this will ring true. They're getting into trouble for nothing, because they are getting into trouble for nothing. This narrative allows boys to shed the shame, replacing it with anger. Maybe anger towards you and whatever member of authority is condemning them. Oh, but she doesn't seem to think it's that way. She's too stupid to realize what the reality is. And who is their anger with? Women, feminists, liberals, people of color, gay folks, etc., etc. So-called snowflakes. Okay. You stupid bitch. You don't know what a snowflake is. You clearly don't know what a snowflake is. And there's other things that come by later on in this thread that clearly shows that she doesn't entirely know what a snowflake is. She may have some idea, but she doesn't fully get it. And if there is a teenage boy that does feel this way about these entire groups, then they're dumb too. But look, snowflakes really only applies to feminists and liberals who are spastastic about their viewpoints. There are plenty of women who will disagree with that concept, as well as people of color and gay folks. You know, I thought that using this phrase was one of the politically incorrect things to say. But you know what? They seem to change this thing all the time depending on who you ask and what day of the week it is. But whatever. So, yeah, I was going to go on. And nobody is there to dismantle the snowflake fallacy because it's true. You can't dismantle truth. These boys are being set up. They're placed like baseballs on a tee and hit right out of the park. Yeah, that's exactly what progressivism does. Good job. And nobody seems to notice this happening, except, it seems to my pea-brain mind, moms of teenage girls who see the bizarre harassment their daughters endure. And of course, moms like me who stalk our sons' social media. Okay, so first of all, you're confessing that these things that you seem to be noticing are only being noticed by women, who apparently are just as mentally deranged as you are. And you're stalking your son's social media. I think that right there just proves the problem. You're basically admitting that you are crazy. Yeah, your teens should be monitored, but stalking them? Jesus Christ, lady, give them some room. These are often boys from progressive or moderate families. Yeah, they're trying to break free from your psychopathic tyranny. But their online behavior and viewing habits are often ignored. Okay. Here's an early red flag. If your kid says triggered as a joke referring to people being sensitive, he's already being exposed and on his way. Intervene. No, how about you just understand that he's got a point. Some people are really sensitive about the dumbest of crap. Now, I can kind of understand to an extent that there is a lesson to be learned here. And I'll go into that later on. I think it's the next post in which she actually goes into detail on this. But the thing is people who are overly sensitive to things, they're the ones who the joke triggered is referred to. Especially since they're the ones who are more likely to say that they are triggered because they're 500 pounds and they don't like seeing a Barbie doll in a Goodwill store or something like that. Oh yeah, here it is right here. Look through his Instagram Explorer screen with him and I have no idea what the hell that means. Explain what's underlying those memes. You probably wouldn't even know. Explain why triggered isn't a joke, except that it is. What a PTSD trigger is actually like. Do you know what a PTSD trigger is actually like? Because I kind of do. Not from first-hand experience, but from witnessing it. I don't really want to go into the details on it because it's not my story to tell, but my ex actually had PTSD from an event that happened during her childhood. She's still suffering from it to this day, and I would like to see her improve. That said, she does not react to people who don't like a certain Mattel product or any other thing that's being snowflakey, triggery-ish. Evoke empathy without shaming him. You know, I don't entirely oppose the idea of encouraging young men to be empathetic from time to time, but if that's what your go-to is, instead of intelligence, thoughts, applying logic, reality, empathy can be a great weakness. So there's that for you. Remind him you know he's a good person, but explain how propaganda works. You know, that actually might not be a bad idea, but considering that you are left-wing propaganda, Miss Novelist slash Ask Men writer, I don't really know if you're the best source of information to get for that. Propaganda makes extreme points of view seem normal by small amounts of exposure over time. Yeah. You take a hint. All for the purpose of converting people to more extremist points of view, like progressivism. Use my baseball analogy if you want to tell your son that he doesn't have to be anybody's fool, including your fool. See, like in the case of my son, I do want to raise him up with basic morals. I also want to impose my political views on him so he can understand where I'm coming from, and I don't want him to become a left-leaning, pro-socialist pussy who is going to be voting against his best interests. Now, at the same time, if he does turn that way, okay, you know what? He's 18. He can do it. Well, when he's 18, he can do it. You know, I'm going to give him that choice, but I will be encouraging him to go the other way because I don't want him to be an idiot. Teenagers have an innate drive toward independence. Yeah, it's laying the groundwork for them becoming an independent adult. That's why they do that. And you're trying to kill that because you don't like opposite opinions. And once the system is exposed, they're likely to start questioning the memes and vloggers' intentions. Good! Good! That should be the case with everything that people are exposed to. Do that with the stuff you're exposed to at school. Do that with the stuff you're exposed to from feminists, especially their mothers. Religion. Everything. Everything should always be questioned. Look into it. Try looking at it from multiple perspectives. Progressivism is no different. Tell them you are always there. Yeah. Not judging. To look at content and try to spot the lie of feminism. No judgment. Then don't judge. Except that she's saying that, you know, spot the lie. It's like, well, how do you know what the lie is? You don't even know what a snowflake is. You can also watch political comedy shows with him, like Trevor Noah, who is not comical and he's a lying douchebag. John Oliver, who's not comical and a lying douchebag. Hassan Minhaj. I honestly have no idea who that is. Don't care. Talk about what makes their jokes funny. I'd love to hear that. Who are the butt of the jokes? Well, pretty much anybody who is right of Mao. Do they punch up or down? They're always punching down, you I'm gonna move along. My kid's here. I don't want to swear more than I have to. Our boys want funny guys to relate to. Not exactly. There's a degree of truth to that. Yeah, males relate to males more than they relate to females. Guess what, lady? That's reality. That's why you're a feminist. You relate to women more than men. But when it comes to comedy, especially stand-up comedy, which she's about to get into, it's not necessarily relevant. If they're funny, then they're funny. John Mulaney, I'm pretty sure I have heard of him. Hannibal Buress, never heard of him. Hassan Minhaj, still have no idea who that is. Neil Brennan, I think I've heard that name. Dave Chappelle, yeah, he's pretty funny, at least from what I've seen. Then talk to your sons about that funny stuff. Break it down. Wait, that's not how that song goes. Yeah, whatever. But yeah, so with that being said, would you also encourage your sons to watch Ron White, or Cat Williams, or Jeff Dunham, or that little girl who's like Jeff Dunham but does a better job of the ventriloquism stuff? Oh, what was her name? Gosh, she was hilarious. I don't think that was her name. Also, give them women comics. Obviously. Why is that obvious? Are you trying to impose upon them the lie that women are just as funny as men? No, lady. The truth is some women are funny like men. And of course there are men who are exceptions to that rule too. There's some guys who are just not funny or worth a damn. Like take a look at Amy Schumer. She's absolute proof that this is a bad idea. But that's besides the point. Then why bring it up? Show them that progressive comedy isn't about being politically correct or safe. It may not be about political correctness, but it lives on political correctness. I would love for you to prove to me that a progressive comedian is a white guy who's using the N-word, and that's still politically correct. Go ahead. Doesn't matter if they're making fun of the Klan or neo-Nazis or something like that. If they're still going to drop that word, that's not progressive, and therefore he should be beaten to death. That's progressive comedy right there. It's often about exposing oppressive systems, which it, more often than not, is part of why it's not very funny. It can be, but usually it isn't. Which is the first thing from safe or delicate as you can get. Wrong!
Wow! That was wow.
Sorry, son.
This scared me a little bit.
These probably seem like the furthest thing from safe to you, because that's the closest thing that you will listen to that is not safe. But the thing is non-progressive comedy is that more dangerous stuff that you don't want your sons to be exposed to. That's why you don't want them to be exposed to them. You think that they're dangerous. Everybody, let's think of this woman like a religious nutcase mama. She won't let her kids watch cartoons because they're not of God. They won't let the kids go out and have fun on Sunday with their friends because you're supposed to be in church. And that kind of stuff. That's exactly what she is doing, but her church is the church of progressivism and feminism. So, there you go, lady. You don't know what not safe is. Disprove the snowflake garbage once and for all. Good luck. Ask your son, who is more of a delicate snowflake? The person who gets offended by racism, sexism, and actively wants to help end bigotry? It's a very vague statement. Or the person who is offended by people saying Happy Holidays instead of Merry Christmas? A very specific example, which even then can still be broken down. So, if I was going to be some stupid little child who didn't have the reasoning skills that I do, I'd be like, the second one. But she's doing that on purpose, because she knows that if she goes into specifics and actually tries to think outside of the box, she'll know that she's in the wrong. Because here's the thing. People can be offended by racism and sexism and actively try to help end them, but their targets are none of those things. They're just too stupid to realize it. Take a look at Antifa. Most of the people that Antifa targets, none of these things. There's no bigotry involved at all, but yet they still think it is. So yes, they are acting like snowflakes when they're thinking that it's perfectly okay to hit people over the head with a bike lock just because somebody didn't want to vote for Hillary Clinton. That's being a snowflake. Now, as for this other example that she's trying to say, hey, this is the real snowflake, again, I think this depends on the situation. Like, let's say that we are, going back to the church references, let's say that we're in a church right now. Everything's all decorated for Christmas. They have the trees, the tinsel, the lights, everything like that. It's definitely Christmas, because it's definitely a church where they worship Jesus and they believe that he was born on or near December 25th. Why would you say Happy Holidays there? That's just stupid.
Holiday.
It would just be dumb to say Happy Holidays there, because the phrase Happy Holidays is intended to include every holiday that's out there, not just specifically Christmas. In a way, it'd be no different than going to a mosque during Ramadan and saying Happy Easter, which I don't think they're anywhere near each other now that I think about it, while eating a bacon sandwich. You don't do that stuff. It's offensive. You're going out of your way to be a jerk. These people are not snowflakes because of that. Okay? The Muslims wouldn't be being snowflakes because of it. The Christians wouldn't be snowflakes because of them doing that. Now, if you're talking about just being out and about in public, like maybe you're at the mall and you see a Happy Holidays sign and you spaz out so much that you go into the store and you start screaming at the staff, then yeah, I can understand that. That would be a snowflake. And there's a lot of those on the left, the progressives. There's a lot of them. But I will say that I personally can relate to that idea. I don't necessarily care about happy holidays or season's greetings or any of that kind of stuff. I'm not a big fan of the idea of using those expressions in your advertisements when the visuals are clearly Christmas. Because it's kind of like you're making it obvious that you're pandering. You're not even trying to be inclusive. You know, if you're going to have happy holidays or season's greetings and also a Christmas tree, include a Hanukkah, include a dreidel, include what's another holiday? Yule. So honestly, the only thing about Yule that I know of about is a Yule fire. You know, try to show that you're including other holidays rather than just having a phrase, because otherwise it's kind of an insult. Or just keep it winter looking. Snow, snowflakes. There's a snowman. Just do that. Anyways, I ranted on about this a little longer than I wanted to. This right here, I believe, is the very last one. Anyways. Above all, we need to stay engaged and challenge our kids without shaming them. Engaged, yes. Challenge, that depends on the challenge. I'm lucky. My kids are smart. Except you're condemning your boys. And have a smart, critical, progressive dad who isn't afraid to call BS when he sees it. Yeah, I'm willing to bet that he wouldn't even know what BS is if he stepped in it. But I've seen so many white boys falling prey to this system. So beware. Yes, beware. Young men, especially the white men, are realizing that progressivism is an idea that targets them, just like how 17th century American slave traders were targeting blacks for slaves. Oh, the horror! Oh, the horror!
Can you stop saying that, Daddy?
Alright, fine, I'll stop saying that. Anyways, I just wanted to share this with you guys. This lady is a whack job, but nonetheless, she's a check mark on Twitter. Peace out, everybody, and if you're religious at all, pray for our future. God... As I was saying, we need it.